I feel like I haven't filmed a full-blown book haul video in a while. I think the last time I did was when I hauled 50 books all at once, which was crazy, but in today's video, I do have 28 books, which is still a lot. I was able to get most of this from Book Outlet, some sales at some store, as well as my local bookstores and also my local libraries. So let's just go ahead and get started. I think I'm gonna start with the books that I got yesterday. I went to Barnes & Noble and they were having their famous BOGO 50% off table. I was actually about to leave Barnes & Noble before these two books caught my eye from that table, so I decided to get them. The first one was A Tempest of Tea by Hafsa Faisal. I think that is how you say the author's name. This book I've seen around my social media for a while and I was super curious about this author as well, so I decided to pick it up because it was buy one get one 50% off. And of course I have to pick up a second book, and I decided to get Nightbane by Alex Astor because I already have the first one, Light Lark, from a few months ago, and I didn't really see any other books on that table that I want to get as the second book, so I decided to get this too. I also went to my local library before going to Barnes & Noble, and somebody donated their Fairy Loot collection because the bookstore had like a special pricing book selection, and all of them were really pretty. Most of them I believe were signed by the author. I only got one, which I think is pretty good considering that I would probably get them all if I can, but I decided to get An Arrow to the Moon by Emily XR Pen because it was only $5 and it has really pretty spray edges. And this one is a standalone book, I believe, so I don't have to buy more of the books in the series. And of course, it is autographed by the author, and it's the Fairy Loot exclusive edition. And I believe this is the UK edition. The other book that actually caught my eye at my local library's bookstore is this book by Safia El Hilo, Home is Not a Country. I believe this is a collection of poems, and I've seen this book cover everywhere also on like my Goodreads, I think maybe in February or something. And when I saw it, I decided to get it because it's only $1. And I think I've mentioned it before, but I love poetry, I love poems, and I do have a few poetry books that I'm collecting, and I'm super happy that I get to add this to my collection. Recently, I discovered that a record store that is local, I think, to Vegas and Arizona, I believe, called Zia Records. They do sell used books, but I think they also sell new books too. So I went to another location kind of close to South Summerlin, and I found two really great books. The first one is The Wishing Game by Meg Shaffer. I've been trying to get this book from Book Outlet, but they have been out of stock for a long time. And when I see it at Zia Records for $8.99, I decided to pick it up. And then the other book that I found at Zia Records is The Red Palace by June Hur. And this one was only $2.99. I want to say one of Rika's coworkers who recommended some books for me also included this one, so I decided to pick this up as well. The next books are mostly from Book Outlet, and I think I also purchased a few from Target, but let's just get right into the stack because it's a really big stack. I decided to pick up another Julie Tews book. This one is called Circling Back to You, and this is, I think, an office romance trope, and I love office romance in movies, in like Korean drama, and books, as well as in anime. So if you have any other office romance book recommendations, let me know in the comment below. The next one I decided to pick up is Soulmates by Susan Lee. I read her most recent release called The Romance Rivalry, and I decided to pick another book of hers because I want to. I think she has another book called The Name Drop that is also super interesting, so I'm probably gonna try and find that book next. The next one that I got is called The Holiday Switch by Tiff Marcelo. I have never actually heard of this author before. I think she is a Filipino-American author. I decided to get this book because it was in stock at Book Outlet. I'm pretty sure she has other romance books that are not like holiday themed, but this is the only one they have, and I thought this would be a great first book that I read by Tiff Marcello. The next book that I got is Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute by Talia Hibbert. I want to say that I do have one book by her, I think. Oh yeah, I do have two books. The Brown Sisters book series. I don't have the first and second book, but I heard that this one is also a pretty good like summer romance book because they look like they're hiking somewhere or something. And I feel like anytime you do something outside or outdoorsy, that is the perfect book for summer. So I decided to pick this one up when Book Outlet has it in stock. This next book is Dream Girl Drama by Tessa Bailey. I think this is the third book in a book series, and I do not have the first or the second book, but Book Outlet actually has the special edition with the pretty edges, so I decided to get it. I think this book is actually pretty new. Maybe it was released sometime this year, I don't remember, but I decided to get it because the spray edges, or the painted, whatever it's called, the pretty edges, so I decided to get it. The next book that I got is the first book in the Addicted series by Krista and Becca Ritchie, Addicted to You. I don't know why, but I kind of want to try out different type of romance books. This one is definitely kind of out of the box for me, in my opinion. This is about the Calloway sisters, I think. This series is actually pretty long. I think there's 10 books. So I don't want to get the whole series because it's pretty long, so I decided to get the first one. Let me know if you have read this Addicted series. Is this actually called the Calloway Sisters series? Honestly, I've heard about them. People call it the Addicted series, Calloway Sisters series. I'm not sure which one, but I decided to pick up the first book and hoping that if I do like this one, I will try and continue with this series. And also maybe check out their other series because they write a lot of books. The next book that I picked up is the second book in the series by Kennedy Ryan, and it is This Could Be Us. I just bought the third book at Barnes & Noble not too long ago. I think it was last weekend. And then I also get the first one. I forgot when, but I already bought the first one. I know that I was gonna get the second one, so I decided to buy the third one as well last weekend because it just came out. The next book that I got is another Ailey Hazelwood's books, and it is Love Theoretically. I feel like that word is kind of hard to pronounce. Love Theoretically. I know a lot of people are really in love with all of her STEM romance books. Actually, haven't read them all. I do have Love Hypothesis somewhere up here, but I decided to get this one as well because it was never in stock at Book Outlet and it was in stock one night. So I added them to my cart and it's here in my house. The next book that I have is If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nowlin. I know that this is a YA novel and I've heard so many great things about it because it will make you sad. I feel like this is kind of like You've Reached Sam by Dustin Thau, and I probably will avoid this book for a long time, but I decided to get it because I want to find out for myself if it is actually that sad, and also I want to find out what is the story about. Are they really not ended up together at the end? Did like one of them die or something? Like, I'm just curious, and I decided to buy it so I can read it for myself. The next two books are kind of related to each other, and I talk about this in a previous video, but this is Roselle Lim's books. This is Vanessa Yu's Magical Paris Tea Shop, and then Sophie Go's Lonely Hearts Club. And I am currently still trying to finish up the very first book of this kind of whole universe called Natalie Tan's Book of Luck and Fortune. And I decided to give this a try because the covers are so pretty, and I feel like if I like the first book, I would definitely read this too as well. They're technically not a series. I think they're standalone. You can read them any order you want to, but I decided to read them by oldest to newest. So I think Natalie Tan's Book of Luck and Fortune is the first book that she published, and I want to say this is the second one, and then this is the third one. Moving on to the second stack in my book stack. The next book that I have is called The Heart Principle by Helen Hong. This is, I believe, the third book in the 3-book series that she has. I have read the first book. I do love and enjoy that book, and I can't wait to read the second book and the third book because it's about the cousins of the male characters in the first book, and the MMC on this one was mentioned a lot in the first book, so I'm curious what is his love story is gonna be about. The next book that I got is Set on You by Amy Leah, and this is part of a 3-book series called the Influencer series, I want to say. I thought this was the second book, but this is actually the first book. I'm not actually sure if I would like a story about influencers in a book, so that's why I'm not really buying all of the other books before I read this one. So let me know in the comment below if you have read this Influencer series by Amy Leah, and if I should hunt down the other 2 books. The next book that I have, I think it's not really YA. I want to say it's probably like middle grade. Is that like what you call it? But this one is When You Wish Upon a Lantern by Gloria Chow. When I was asking threads for book recommendations by Asian authors, this one comes up quite a few times and I decided to get it. I've never actually read anything by Gloria Chow. I think all of her books are middle grade, but let me know if there are any other books by her that you think I should get next. The next couple books that I got are by Emiko Jean, and this is the Tokyo Ever After series. I want to say there's only 2 books in here, but this is also super interesting because the main character on this book learned that she's actually the daughter of the Crown Prince of Japan, and she had to go back to Japan to kind of, I guess, reconnect it or connect it with her family or the rest of her family. She has to learn all of this custom and tradition, just like Princess Diaries, I think. But I think it also gives a vibe of that movie What a Girl Wants with Amanda Bynes, and I love those 2 movies, and I can't wait to read this. Let me know in the comment below if you have read this series before as well, and if there's any other Emiko Jean's books that I need to add to my TBR list. Okay, the next 2 books are actually from the same author, and I didn't realize that it is until now that I'm looking at it side by side. But I have 2 books by Farrah Heron. One of them is called Accidentally Engaged, the other one is Just Playing House. I feel like the reasons why I picked this 2 book up is because it has the fake dating trope, and I just love those trope, love those type of stories when you have to get married to each other out of convenience, but also like contract marriage. Is that a trope? Because that is also something that I would love to read. But anyways, these are the 2 books that I have by Farrah Heron. I know she writes a lot of other books, and again, if you have any recommendations, let me know in the comment below. The last 4 books are also by the same author, and it is part of a 4-book series by Sonali Dev. The 4th book is actually in the freezer downstairs because I see some spots on the bottom of the book that might or might not be mold, but to be safe, I put them in the freezer, and I think tomorrow maybe I will clean up the spots with rubbing alcohol. But anyways, this is the Rajas series. I think that's what it's called. It's about, I want to say, 4 sisters. I think they're all girls, or no, the Rajas siblings, I guess. I'm not really sure. No, are they sisters? Oh no, siblings, because I think this one is about the brother. They are immigrant Indian family descended from royalty who have built their lives in San Francisco. They are definitely Jane Austen inspired, as you can see by the title. I'm hoping to at least start the first book this year because these actually sound really interesting. And again, if you have read this book series or anything else by Sonali Dev, let me know in the comment below. If you are curious about all of these books, make sure to subscribe because I will definitely post my updates.